In order to adjust this belt, we're going to loosen this bolt right here. Take slack off there. And you can rotate the motor down, and I find that sometimes it's hard to get your hands in there. What I'll take sometimes is a pair of channel locks, and I'll put one of them underneath the metal tab right here, the other part of it on top of the metal plate, and that gives you a little bit of leverage. So you can set that right up on top and give that a quick squeeze, and that'll bring the motor down. Once that's down, we can tighten that belt up again with our wrench. And that's basically how you tighten the belt up. And again, about a 1/4 inch deflection is all we need. Let me just secure that bolt, and we're ready to go. Just finish snugging that up. All right, so that's snug. While we're still inside here, we're going to point out a few other things just to take note of. If your saw ever trips the breaker, there is a reset switch on the inside here, and it's just right back on top of this cover. There's a cover right here, and there's a reset switch inside the saw right here. And so if your saw doesn't start, the first place to come is come inside here and hit that reset switch. Now make sure that when you do that, unplug your saw. When you have your hands inside the saw here, you'll notice that I've got my plug off right now, and we're making adjustments with the saw completely neutralized. So there's your reset switch. That'll get your saw powered back up. One note is if you do a 220 conversion, you'll end up replacing that switch, and we're going to cover that in just a little bit. Now we're just about ready to power up the saw. I've replaced the cover on the side of the machine, so that's ready to go. Let's talk a little bit about the power and the switch. Your machine should have a tag on it, and this will tell you that this machine is pre-wired for 120 volts. That'll be your standard household current, and so this can plug into the wall. You can remove the tag now that you've got that ascertained. Let's talk about the switch here. Now the switch is got the power switch or the on switch right here, and that'll allow you to power up the saw. The off switch is right beneath it, and hanging over the off switch is a large stop paddle. And these paddle type switches are great because if you have your hands going through the machine here or pushing some wood through the machine, you can bump this switch with your knee, you can hit it with a hand, and you can shut off the saw. You should also note that there is a little hole that goes through the on switch, the power switch, and that is there to lock out the saw or to tag out the saw. If you remove it from service or if there's a component part off of the saw, you can actually put a little thin lock through here or a tag that goes through there that prevents the saw from starting and to notify other operators that the saw should not be used. It also is good when you have children around. You can put a little lock through here and they can't start the saw. Now we're almost ready to power up the saw. I know we've been teasing you, but you got to make sure that your saw is set up correctly in the shop. First of all, you want to make sure that you have a location set up for your saw that is flat and reasonably level so that your saw doesn't tilt around. We've got some leveling and adjuster feet on the bottom that we're going to show you how to go through and set. And you'll want to do that before you use your saw because you want it to be stable. You don't want it to be rocking as you're sliding wood through it. It's a really important safety factor. You also want to have your push stick handy, and there happens to be a really nice catch right here for it. This end slides in there, the butt of the handle slides in here, and that way it's always at the ready. As I'm sliding product through the saw, I can reach over and push it through here. So have your safety stick or your push stick handy and ready to go. Make sure you've got your safety glasses ready to go. And make sure you've got plenty of room around your saw without debris on the floor. You don't want to slip as you're pushing product through the saw. You also want to have enough in-feed room and out-feed room. So if you're pushing an 8-foot sheet through the saw, it means you're going to have 8 feet in front of the saw and 8 feet behind the saw to clear the product through the saw blade as you're making a cut. So let's go down. We'll have a look at the leveling feet on the saw and also the built-in mobility kit.